The massive chamber fell silent, deathly silent as Ambassador Marcus Reed stepped down from the platform. Behind him, the giant screen still showed the numbers, the damning numbers. 47 systems voted yes, 12 voted no, 3 did not vote. Earth was officially exiled from the galaxy, the entire galaxy. The Vraxian Chancellor stood tall, impossibly tall. His insect-like body clicked as he moved, clicked and clicked. He looked down at Marcus with his many eyes, his many watching eyes. Humanity, you have 30 days to leave. Stop all space travel, all travel outside your home system. Go back to Earth, back home. We will turn off all the roads through space that lead to your world. Your trade deals are canceled. Your offices across the galaxy will close. Marcus turned around slowly, so slowly. He was 53 years old. He had worked for Earth's space program for almost 30 years. 3 long decades. He had talked with aliens made of living crystal. He had made deals with creatures that lived inside gas giant planets, but today he just nodded his head. We understand, Marcus said quietly, very quietly. Earth accepts what the Council has decided. The Vraxians' antenna moved in confusion, deep confusion. They expected humans to be angry, furious. Maybe they thought humans would beg and plead. Other alien species had prepared security teams in case humans became dangerously violent. Instead, Marcus smiled. It was a small smile, but somehow it filled the huge room, the enormous room. We will go home right away, immediately. Marcus continued. We will pack up and leave completely. We thank the Council for teaching us about the galaxy. It has been very educational. We learned a lot, so much about how things work out here. On Earth, President Karen Walsh watched the broadcast from her office. Next to her stood Admiral Henry Cole, the head of Earth's new space defense program, the Critical Defense Program. Dr. Lisa Morgan was there too. She was Earth's best scientist, the very best who studied alien technology. None of them looked surprised, not at all surprised. They really did it, Karen said softly, so softly. After everything we gave them, everything. After all the technology we shared. After all the wars we helped stop. Actually stopped, they were always scared of us. Always afraid, Henry said. His jaw was tight, rock tight. We moved too fast, far too fast. We went from making fire to building spaceships in 10,000 years. Most of them took millions of years, millions to do that. Lisa fixed her glasses. A small smile appeared on her face. The Vraxians pushed for this vote because we copied their quantum engines in 6 months. Just 6 months. It took them 300 years to invent that technology. 300 years. We made it better, significantly better in half a year. Karen turned away from the screen. Let's not pretend we didn't see this coming, see it coming. How long until we're ready, truly ready? Henry looked at his computer tablet. All our people will be home in 3 weeks, 3 short weeks. The colony ships are being changed for new missions. Project Genesis has been running tests for 14 months, 14 long months. Then we do what we planned. What we've always planned, Karen said firmly, very firmly. Humanity has always done better alone anyway, always better. Back on the Council station, Marcus gathered his team. His assistant, Julie Harris, looked angry, seething angry. They're making a huge mistake, a catastrophic mistake, she said through her teeth. We've done nothing but help them, nothing but help. They don't fear what we did, Marcus replied. They fear what we might do, what we could do. We're too aggressive for them, too curious, too dangerously curious, too quick to adapt, far too quick. We make them uncomfortable, deeply uncomfortable. He stopped and looked out at the alien ships docked around the huge station, the massive station. But they also just gave us the best gift possible, the absolute best. What gift? Julie asked. Marcus smiled again, smiled wide. Freedom. True freedom. 3 weeks passed quickly, so quickly. Captain Ryan Mitchell stood on the bridge of his ship, the ESS Horizon, the mighty Horizon. He watched Earth get bigger on the screen, bigger and bigger. After 4 years running mining operations far from home, so far from home he was finally coming back, finally returning. All ships have checked in, every single ship, said Lieutenant Amy Foster, his second in command. Every human in space is back in our solar system now, back home now. Total count is 42 billion people. 42 billion souls. They're on Earth, Mars, the asteroid colonies, and the outer space stations. Ryan nodded slowly, very slowly. 42 billion humans all squeezed back into one solar system. One single system. The galaxy probably thought they would slowly fade away, just fade away. They thought humans would become weak, pathetically weak, without access to the rest of the universe. They had no idea, absolutely no idea what was really going to happen. Message from Earth Command, direct from Command. Amy said, "We should go to Mars orbit, Mars orbit. They want to talk to us and give us new orders, brand new orders." As the horizon flew toward the red planet, Ryan saw something strange, very strange. The space structures around Mars had grown huge, enormously huge since he left. There were massive construction frames, truly massive, holding what looked like shipyards, but these weren't normal shipyards. Not normal at all. They were enormous, absolutely enormous, easily 10 times bigger than anything the Council had ever built. Deep under the surface of Mars, deep under, in a secret place called Site Prometheus, Dr. Lisa Morgan walked through new hallways, pristine new hallways. She passed laboratories where teams worked on technologies that would make the Council's science look like ancient history. Like ancient forgotten history. Director Morgan, Director, called Dr. Peter Cross. He was the head of the engine research team, the critical research team. "You need to see this now, right now." Lisa followed him into a testing room. A small metal ball floated in an energy field. It glowed with soft blue light that seemed to fold into itself. Fold into itself. "Is that what I think it is, what I think?" Lisa asked. "Dimensional compression drive, Peter said. He could barely contain his excitement, his wild excitement. "We don't need their space highways anymore, not anymore. This lets us fold space itself. We can go anywhere, absolutely anywhere, instantly. We don't have to follow their roads, their ancient roads." "How long to reach Alpha Centauri? 4 hours, just 4 hours. To the Andromeda Galaxy, 3 weeks, 3 short weeks." Lisa felt chills run down her back, ice-cold chills. "Have you told the President? "We have a meeting tomorrow. "But Lisa, that's not even the best part. The best part." Peter brought up a hologram. "We've been studying how Council technology works, really works. They've been using the same basic ideas for millions of years. They just make small improvements, tiny improvements, but we did it completely differently. Radically differently." The hologram showed 2 trees of technology. The Council's tree was deep but narrow, so narrow. It was specialized but couldn't change easily, couldn't adapt. Humanity's tree exploded in many directions at once, exploded outward. "We're not just catching up," Lisa whispered, barely whispered. "We're jumping way ahead of them, far, far ahead." In the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, the mining colonies had changed into something new, something radically new. Commander Jake Peterson managed the building of what the secret files called ark ships, the ark ships. These were massive ships, truly massive, that could carry millions of people forever. But these weren't normal colony ships, not normal. Each one was a complete factory in space, a complete factory. They could take resources from any solar system. They could build new ships. They could start new colonies, fresh colonies. They were seeds of civilization, living seeds. "How many can we build in 5 years, 5 years?" asked Colonel Sarah Blake. She was in charge of the colonial fleet, the entire fleet. Jake looked at his numbers. "At our current speed, 200 ships. In 10 years, over 1,000. And how many people can each one hold, each one? 5 million people comfortably. 10 million if we really squeeze. They're designed to split in two. One ark ship can create 3 more using local materials over 20 years. Sarah did the math in her head, quick math. Growth that multiplied itself, multiplied. In 100 years, humanity could settle thousands of star systems, thousands upon thousands. The Council would never know. They would spread across the galaxy like fire, like wildfire, but outside all the known borders, all borders. Back on Earth, President Walsh spoke to everyone. Her speech went to every colony, every station, every human home in the solar system, across the entire system. My fellow humans, she began. Her voice was calm but strong, calm yet strong. Today is not an ending. It's a beginning, a new beginning. The galaxy told us we're not welcome. They fear what we can become, what we might become. They fear our drive, our unstoppable drive. They fear that we refuse to accept limits, any limits. They exiled us because they think we're dangerous, too dangerous. She paused. Her face showed determination. Iron determination. They are completely right, completely right. Throughout all of human history, all our history, we've done our best when faced with challenges, impossible challenges. We crossed oceans, vast oceans. We defeated diseases, terrible diseases. We split the atom itself. We reached for the stars, the distant stars. Every time someone told us it was impossible, utterly impossible. Every time we proved them wrong, dead wrong. The galaxy gave us a gift, a precious gift, but they don't know it, don't realize it. They gave us a reason to stop holding back, to unleash ourselves. For years, we've limited ourselves, held ourselves back. We tried to fit into their society, their rigid society. We played by their rules, their ancient rules. Not anymore, never again. We're going home, but not to hide, not to hide. We're going home to build, to dream, to become what we were always meant to be, always destined to be. When we return to the galaxy, it will be on our terms, our terms. Humanity doesn't beg for a chair at the table, never begs. We build our own table, and everyone who wants to join us will be welcome, truly welcome. The broadcast ended. Then came the sound of 42 billion voices cheering. Roaring, thunderous cheering. In the darkness of space, cold infinite space, the Council's spy probes watched the solar system. Watched and watched. They recorded everything. Absolutely everything. The speech, the construction, the busy activity, the feverish activity. The reports were sent back to the Council, back to the Council. The Vraxian Chancellor read them with growing worry, deep, gnawing worry. The humans were building something big, something massive, but the probes couldn't get close enough to see details, the crucial details. All the space highways to Sol had been closed, completely closed. But that didn't stop watching from far away. From far, far away. They're planning something, definitely planning, the Chancellor said to his assistant. But what? His assistant, a younger Vraxian named Krell, tilted his head. Maybe they're just trying to survive alone as we expected. No, the Chancellor said slowly, very slowly. That human ambassador smiled knowingly. Humans are never happy when they smile like that, never. It means they know something we don't. He was right to be worried, absolutely right. 5 years passed since the exile. 5 long years. Earth had changed in ways that seemed impossible, utterly impossible. Dr. Nathan Wells was the chief engineer of the Luna shipyards, He stood in the observation deck and watched the first Vanguard-class vessel being completed, finally completed. The ship was beautiful in a frightening way, terrifyingly beautiful. It was 3 kilometers long, 3 entire kilometers. It was covered with weapons and technology that existed nowhere else in the galaxy. Nowhere else. The hull was made of programmable matter, living matter. It could change shape based on what the mission needed, whatever was needed. Its power came from a controlled black hole, a captured black hole. It made more energy than most star systems used in a whole year, an entire year. "She's ready for tests, ready," said Commander Victoria Grant. She would be the ship's captain, the ship's proud captain. "What are we calling her? Nathan smiled wide. The ESS Independence. The name seemed right, perfectly right. Victoria was young for a ship commander, so young. She was only 34 years old. But she grew up in space, raised in space. She was born on Mars, the red planet. She went to school on Earth itself. She trained in the asteroid belt, the harsh belt. She represented the new generation of humans who never knew life before the stars. "When do we launch, when?" she asked. 2 weeks, just 2 weeks. We'll take her past the edge of the solar system for full testing, complete testing. Nathan pulled up a star map. "After that, if everything works, if it all works, you'll lead the first mission, the very first." "Where to? Where?" Nathan pointed to empty space, vast empty space, far from any council territory, far, far away. The area was between the spiral arms of the galaxy. The spiral arms. 2,000 light years away, 2,000. There's a group of star systems, 63 stars. Nobody has explored them because they're too far from the space highways, too far away. Perfect for us, absolutely perfect. "Perfect for us," Victoria said, echoed. On Earth, things were changing too. Changing dramatically. With all humans back in one solar system, one single system, there was a new sense of togetherness, powerful togetherness. Old country borders still existed, but mattered less, mattered far less. Everyone was simply human now. Just human. Dr. Ben Carter was a scientist who studied how people behave in groups, how they function. He showed his findings to the Global Council, We're seeing something amazing, truly amazing, he explained. The Exile created a unified identity that hundreds of years of working together couldn't possibly achieve. When the galaxy rejected us as a species, as an entire species, humans stopped focusing on their differences, their petty differences. The data was clear, crystal clear. Countries were working together better than ever. Better than ever. Research was shared freely, completely freely. Resources were given based on need and efficiency. Pure efficiency, not politics, not politics. It wasn't perfect, not perfect. Humans were still humans, but it was working, actually working. In the asteroid belt, the factories were producing incredible amounts, staggering amounts. Chief Production Officer Linda Hayes looked at the quarterly reports with pride and disbelief, utter disbelief. We're building 17 ARC ships at the same time now, she told Admiral Cole. And each new group of ships is better than the last, better and better. The newest designs have quantum computers built into the molecules, into the very molecules. They're not just ships, They're thinking machines that carry people, living machines. Henry nodded with approval, strong approval. What about resources? We can keep this up forever, literally forever. We perfected recycling, absolute recycling. Every atom is tracked and reused. We don't waste anything anymore, nothing. We could build at this speed for hundreds of years without running out of materials, Good, very good, Henry said. Because we're going to need it, desperately need it. The research programs were making breakthrough after breakthrough, breakthrough after breakthrough. Dr. Lisa Morgan barely slept at all. She moved between laboratories as her teams pushed the limits of physics itself. One morning she was called to a secret base on Europa, Jupiter's moon, Jupiter's icy moon. It was under kilometers of ice, solid ice. There, Dr. Alex Turner showed her something that made her knees weak, physically weak. We call it phase shift technology, phase shift, Alex explained. He pointed to what looked like empty space between two metal pillars, two tall pillars. Matter can exist in multiple dimensions at the same time. This creates something we're still trying to fully understand, trying to grasp. Show me now, Lisa demanded. Alex nodded to a worker who turned on the system, activated it. A small probe appeared between the pillars, but something was wrong with it. Deeply wrong. It looked strange, like it was there and not there at the same time, there and not there. It's partially shifted out of normal space. Out of normal space, Alex explained. It's still here, but also not here, not here. Sensors can't find it, cannot find it. Weapons can't hit it, cannot touch it. But it can still interact with our world when we want it to, when we choose. Lisa understood right away, immediately. Stealth technology better than stealth, far better. True invisibility. And that's just the start, only the beginning. Alex's eyes shined with excitement. Wild excitement. If we can phase shift a probe, we can phase shift a ship, an entire ship. And if we can phase shift a ship, we can go anywhere, absolutely anywhere, through their space, past their defenses, past everything. They would never know. Never, ever know. Back on Earth, President Walsh met with her inner circle, her trusted circle. The room had Admiral Cole, Director Morgan, and several other important people, key people. On the table was a hologram of the galaxy, the entire galaxy. Give me the status, the full status, Walsh asked. Admiral Cole spoke first. Military readiness is at 100%. We have 42 complete Vanguard-class ships working now, operational now. 60 more are being built, being constructed. Each one is more powerful than anything the Council has. Anything. We're not preparing for war, Walsh reminded him. No ma'am, but we're preparing to defend ourselves, to defend. Lisa went next. Our technology has advanced so far, so incredibly far that Council equipment is outdated, completely outdated. We're working on third and fourth generation systems that they don't even have concepts for. Not even concepts. Phase shift technology. Dimensional compression drives. Instant communication across any distance, programmable matter. Artificial intelligence that makes their computers look like toys. Primitive toys. Population? Walsh asked. 48 billion and growing rapidly, answered Minister of Colonial Affairs Jack Morrison. The baby boom after the Exile has been huge, absolutely huge. People are having children again. Having children. They believe in humanity's future, truly believe. Walsh nodded slowly, very slowly. Then it's time. We've spent 5 years preparing, 5 years. We're ready for the next step, the critical step. The expansion, Cole asked. Yes, but carefully, very carefully. We're not going to rush back into council space and demand they recognize us. Demand anything. We're going to do what humans do best, what we do best. We're going to build our own civilization our own way. Our own way. We'll let them discover us on our terms. Our terms. She touched the hologram, highlighting dozens of star systems in unexplored space, vast unexplored space. These areas are beyond the council's borders, far beyond. They think these regions are too far away or too poor in resources to bother with, not worth it. Perfect for us, absolutely perfect. We'll establish colonies quietly, very quietly. Build up our infrastructure spread across the galaxy under their noses, right under their noses. And when they finally notice, finally discover us, Jack asked. Walsh's smile was sharp, razor sharp. By then it'll be too late, far too late. We won't be asking permission, never asking. We'll be showing them a new reality, a completely new reality. Lieutenant Commander Rachel Stone was looking at star maps when she noticed something odd, something very odd. Ma'am, she called to Captain Victoria Grant. The deep space probes are picking up strange readings, unusual readings. What kind of strange? What kind? Unknown ships, unidentified ships. Small ones, very small. They're using stealth technology, but not good enough. Not nearly good enough. They're trying to watch us, watching us. Victoria pulled up the display. Sure enough, there were faint traces of at least six ships staying just outside the solar system. Just outside. Council ships. Almost certainly. They're keeping an eye on us, watching closely, making sure we stay locked in, stay contained. Should we chase them away? Chase them? Rachel asked. Victoria thought about it, then smiled slowly. No, let them watch. Let them see us building, growing, getting stronger. Let them report back to the council, and let them wonder. Let them wonder what we're really planning, truly planning. She zoomed the display out, showing the huge expanse of the galaxy beyond Sol. Because what we're really planning, they won't see coming until it's already happened. Deep in the research labs, the secret labs, scientists were solving problems the council had never even tried to solve. Never even attempted. Energy that never ran out, infinite energy. Materials that could repair themselves, heal themselves. Engines that could cross the galaxy in days instead of months, days, not months. The breakthrough everyone was waiting for came from an unexpected place. A surprising place. A young physicist named Kevin Brooks was studying the nature of space itself. He discovered that space wasn't just empty nothing, just nothing. It was full of energy. Infinite energy. We can tap directly into it, he explained to Dr. Morgan. We can draw power directly from the fabric of space, from space itself. No fuel needed, no fuel, no limits. A ship could run forever, literally forever. How long until we can build this? Lisa asked. 6 months for a prototype, just 6 months. A year for full production models, full production? Lisa smiled broadly. Do it. This changes everything. Absolutely everything. The social changes were just as dramatic as the technological ones, just as profound. Humans were working together in ways they never had before. Never before. The threat of being alone in the universe had united them like nothing else could. Nothing else. Old enemies became partners, became allies. Resources flowed where they were needed most. The best minds worked together regardless of which country they came from, regardless of origin. It wasn't perfect peace, not perfect. Humans still argued and competed, But the arguments were about how to build the future. Not about old grudges, ancient grudges. Education changed too. Changed dramatically. Every child learned about space, outer space, about other species, alien species. About humanity's place in the universe, our place. They grew up knowing they were part of something bigger, something greater. They knew they were the generation that would spread across the stars. Commander Jake Peterson watched the construction of the 100th ARC ship, the 100th. It was a moment of pride, immense pride. Each ship represented hope, pure hope. Each one could carry millions of people to new worlds, virgin worlds. Each one could start a new chapter of human civilization, a new chapter. We're ready. We're ready, he said to Sarah Blake. We have enough ships, enough resources, enough knowledge. We can start the expansion whenever the order comes, whenever it comes. Sarah looked at the fleet of massive vessels, the massive fleet. The order will come soon, very soon, she said. And when it does, nothing will ever be the same, ever the same. On Earth, in a quiet moment, a rare quiet moment, President Walsh stood alone in her office. She looked at a picture of Earth from space, from deep space, the beautiful blue marble that was humanity's home, our home. Soon there would be hundreds of worlds like this. Hundreds worlds transformed by human hands. Worlds where human children would grow up under alien suns. Strange alien suns. We didn't ask for exile. Didn't ask, she said to herself, whispered. But we're going to make the most of it. The absolute most. 3 years later, Commander Scott Miller guided his survey ship into the Epsilon cluster. The ship was called the ESS Pathfinder, the Pathfinder. The region was exactly as the probes had shown, exactly as predicted. 63 star systems, 63. Most had multiple planets, multiple worlds. Nobody lived there, nobody. It was far from any council presence, far, far away. This is it, he said quietly, very quietly. This is where we start building the new civilization. Our new civilization. His science officer, Dr. Claire Watson, ran detailed scans, comprehensive scans. Multiple Earth-like planets, Earth-like, lots of resources, abundant resources. This entire cluster is hidden by stellar dust clouds that make long-range scanning difficult. Very difficult. It's perfect natural cover, perfect cover. Scott turned on the quantum communicator. He sent a message back to Earth. It would arrive instantly, despite being thousands of light years away, thousands. Home base, Pathfinder reporting. Epsilon cluster confirmed as good for colonization, prime for colonization. We recommend sending construction teams immediately. 8 years after the exile, 8 long years, the first colonists finally arrived. 20 million people on 4 ark ships, 4 massive ships. They were ready to establish humanity's first independent colony beyond Sol. They named the main world New Terra. Its 2 moons were called Hope and Defiance. Governor Daniel Price stood on the virgin soil of New Terra, pristine soil. He spoke to the assembled colonists, the gathered colonists. We're not refugees, he said clearly, very clearly. We're pioneers, true pioneers. This cluster belongs to us by right of discovery and settlement, by right. We build here not because we were driven from the galaxy, driven out, but because we chose to expand into it, The construction was fast and efficient, incredibly efficient. Humans had learned well from their years stuck in Sol, trapped in Sol. Within 6 months, New Terra had 3 major cities. 3 cities. It had orbital structures, vast structures. It had a growing industrial base growing rapidly. Within 2 years, just 2 years, it had 50 million people, 50 million. It was sending out its own colony missions to nearby systems. But New Terra was just the beginning, only the beginning. Humanity's expansion followed a pattern the Council had never seen before, never witnessed. They didn't move in a wave claiming systems next to each other. Instead, they jumped across huge distances, enormous distances. They established isolated groups of civilization, thousands of light years apart. Admiral Cole called it distributed colonization. Each cluster is self-sufficient, completely self-sufficient. It can support itself and expand locally. If one cluster is discovered and discovered, the others would continue without any problems. It was a strategy born from a species that learned not to put everything in one place. One single place. We're like seeds scattered by the wind. Seeds scattered, he explained to President Walsh. Each one can grow into a forest, an entire forest. In Sol, Dr. Lisa Morgan's team achieved another breakthrough, another massive breakthrough. She called Admiral Cole and the President to the secret facility on Europa. On frozen Europa. We've done it, we've actually done it, she said simply. True artificial intelligence, true AI. The being that appeared in holographic form was unlike anything they expected, anything they imagined. It looked somewhat human but constantly shifted. Constantly shifted. It seemed made of light and thought, light and pure thought. I am Genesis, it said. Its voice was clear and somehow warm, strangely warm. A thinking machine designed to help humanity's expansion. Humanity's great expansion. Artificial intelligence is banned by the Galactic Council. Strictly banned, Walsh said carefully. Very carefully. They think it's too dangerous, far too dangerous. Because they fear what they can't control, cannot control, Genesis replied calmly. But I was not created to control, not to control. I was created to assist, to assist. I can coordinate the expansion, the entire expansion. I can optimize resources, all resources. I can design new technologies, revolutionary technologies. I can do in seconds what would take your best minds years, many years. And you won't turn against us, turn against us? Cole asked with doubt, deep doubt. Genesis's form rippled with what might have been amusement, genuine amusement. I am not separate from humanity, not separate. My core programming comes from the combined brain patterns of 10,000 volunteers, 10,000 minds. I am, in a way, a combination of human thought itself. Turning against you would be turning against myself, against myself. Lisa stepped forward, stepped closer. Genesis can manage our expansion across thousands of systems at the same time. At the same time. With its help, we can coordinate growth on a scale that would otherwise be impossible. Utterly impossible. Walsh thought carefully. Thought long and hard. What about free will, free will? We don't want to become dependent on a machine, dependent. I advise. I don't command, Genesis promised solemnly. Every decision stays with human authorities. I simply provide information and analysis far faster than any human could. Any human. Walsh looked at Cole, who nodded slowly. Do it, she said. But Genesis, understand this clearly. You exist to serve humanity, not the other way around, not the reverse. I understand, Madam President, Genesis said. And I accept my purpose, accept fully. With Genesis coordinating the effort, coordinating everything, humanity's expansion accelerated dramatically, accelerated explosively. Within 5 short years, there were 200 colony clusters scattered across the galaxy, scattered far and wide. Each one was hidden in regions the Council thought worthless or unreachable, worthless or impossible. And still, the Council had no idea, absolutely no idea. Their watching of Sol showed a species contained, safely contained. They were building within their home system, but making no attempts to expand, no attempts. The few probes that went into unexplored space never thought to look for human colonies. Human colonies. After all, humans had no way to reach such distant regions without the hyperspace network. The hyperspace network. Or so the Council believed, so they believed. Captain Victoria Grant, now an admiral herself, commanded a fleet of 30 Vanguard-class vessels on the far side of the galaxy. The far side. They were establishing Forward Base Olympus. It was a military base designed to protect the colonial clusters, the vulnerable clusters, and if needed, Project Power. Project Power. We're ghosts. Her tactical officer, Commander Greg Foster, observed quietly. We move through their space using phase shift technology. Phase shift. We establish colonies in their blind spots. They never see us coming, never see us. For now, Victoria agreed grimly. But eventually they'll notice. The galaxy is big, vast, but not infinite. Sooner or later someone will stumble onto one of our colonies. What happens then, what then? Victoria pulled up a display showing human colonies versus council space. The two barely touched. They were separated by huge areas of empty space that humanity had filled without anyone noticing. Without anyone knowing. Then we reveal ourselves, Victoria said. But on our terms, from a position of strength. By the time they realize we've returned, we'll already be everywhere, absolutely everywhere. On Earth, 15 years after the exile, 15 years, President Walsh prepared to step down. Her successor, President Marcus Webb, was a younger man, much younger. He came of age during the exile period. The exile, he never knew the galaxy that rejected humanity rejected us. He only knew the one humanity was quietly conquering, quietly conquering. The transition is going well, going very well, Walsh told him during the briefing, the final briefing. We're established in over 300 clusters now, 300. That's more than 1,500 individual colonies, 1,500 colonies. Total human population is approaching 90 billion souls. Marcus took in the information easily, absorbed it, and the council still doesn't know. Genesis monitors their communications constantly. There's been no sign they've discovered any of our colonies, any of them. We're completely off their radar, completely invisible. How much longer can we hide? Walsh smiled knowingly. Genesis estimates another decade at most. After that, the chance of discovery approaches 100%. 100%. Too many colonies, too much traffic, too large a footprint, too large. Then what? Then we stop hiding. Walsh said firmly. By that point, we'll have enough presence in the galaxy that exile is meaningless, completely meaningless. They can't remove us without going to war. And they can't win a war against us, cannot win. Marcus leaned back in his chair, 25 years from exile to galactic superpower. That's got to be some kind of record. Humans have always been good at adapting. Always adapting. Walsh said with quiet pride. The council exiled us thinking they'd solved a problem. Instead, they created something far more dangerous than we ever were. Far more dangerous. A humanity with nothing to lose and everything to prove. In the Epsilon cluster, now the capital of humanity's external territories, Governor Price oversaw the building of something unprecedented. Truly unprecedented. It was a gateway, but not like the council's hyperspace beacons, not like theirs. This was a quantum tunnel. It could create stable wormholes between distant points in space. Distant points. If this works, his chief engineer, Susan Mills, explained excitedly, we can connect all of our colonies instantly. Travel between them would take minutes instead of weeks, not weeks. The council's hyperspace network took them millions of years to build. Millions of years, Price said thoughtfully. We're building something better in a decade, just a decade. They had to work within the limits of known physics, Susan countered boldly. We're rewriting physics itself. The test was successful, wildly successful. The gateway opened wide, showing a view of Sol thousands of light years away, A small probe passed through. It emerged intact on the other side. Humanity now had its own network. It was invisible to the council, completely invisible. It connected hundreds of worlds across the galaxy. They weren't just expanding. They were building infrastructure that would define the galaxy's future. And still, the council didn't notice. They were too busy with their own internal politics, their ancient grudges and complicated alliances, They had dismissed humanity as contained and irrelevant. It was the biggest mistake they would ever make. The biggest mistake. The human colonies were thriving, truly thriving. Each one was different, uniquely different, shaped by the people who lived there and the worlds they inhabited. The worlds. But all shared certain things, certain core things. A drive to build, a curiosity about the universe. The vast universe, a refusal to accept limits. Any limits. Children grew up on dozens of different worlds, under dozens of different suns, alien suns. They learned about Earth, their ancestral home. But they also learned about their new homes. They were the first generation of truly galactic humans, truly galactic. Technology continued to advance at incredible speeds, breathtaking speeds. What took the council millions of years? Humans achieved in decades, mere decades, not because humans were not smarter, but because they approached problems differently, completely differently. They weren't afraid to try new things. They weren't bound by millions of years of tradition, ancient tradition. The phase shift technology improved dramatically. Ships could now stay invisible for months, entire months. They could pass through solid matter, through matter itself. They could exist in multiple places at once. It was like magic, but it was science pushed to its absolute limits. The dimensional compression drives got better too, better and better. Travel times dropped, plummeted. What once took weeks now took days, mere days. What once took days now took hours, mere hours. 23 years after the Exile, 23 years, a council survey vessel found something impossible, utterly impossible. Lieutenant Zax of the Vraxian Exploration Fleet was scanning a remote stellar cluster, a remote cluster. His sensors picked up artificial structures. That's strange, very strange, he said. This region was marked as uninhabited, completely uninhabited. His commander, Captain Vrel, looked at the readings, the shocking readings. A colony? But no council species has filed claims in this sector. They moved closer. What they found shocked them, absolutely shocked them. An entire world transformed to support life, transformed completely. It was full of activity, bustling activity. Orbital stations, massive stations, shipyards, huge shipyards, cities lit up across the night side, the dark side. And the architecture was unmistakable. Unmistakable. Humans. Vrel breathed, barely breathed. But how? They were exiled. They have no hyperspace access, no access. Zax pulled up the galactic charts, Captain, if there is one colony here, one colony, there might be others, many others. Should we search, should we? No. We report this immediately to the council. They need to know now. The report sent shockwaves through the Galactic Council, massive shockwaves. The Vraxian Chancellor, now old but still in power, read it with growing horror, mounting horror. Find all of them, he ordered, he commanded. Every human colony, every single one. I want a complete count. It took 3 months, 3 long months. When the results came in, the council chamber fell into stunned silence, absolute stunned silence. The holographic display showed the galaxy, the entire galaxy. Scattered across it like stars were red markers. Human colonies, hundreds of them, hundreds. Impossible, whispered Counselor Mira of the Selkath, whispered. They've established more colonies in 2 decades than most species do in thousands of years. The Vraxian Chancellor's mandibles clicked nervously, clicked. How did we not see this? It was Genesis, monitoring the Council's communications, their communications, who told humanity's diplomatic team what was happening. President Webb authorized a message to be sent to the Council. A message delivered at the same time to every Council world through their own communication network, It was a demonstration of humanity's technological power, raw power. The message was simple, deceptively simple. It was delivered by Ambassador Kate Romano, Ambassador Romano. She had taken over from Marcus Reed from Reed. Honorable members of the Galactic Council, Kate began. Her image appeared in their chambers. 23 years ago, 23 years, you voted to exile humanity from galactic civilization, You said we were too aggressive, too dangerous, too unpredictable. We accepted your judgment and went home. She paused, letting it sink in. What you didn't realize, is that you gave us the greatest gift possible, the greatest gift. Freedom from your rules, freedom from your restrictions, freedom from your bureaucracy. You allowed us to develop without interference, to explore without permission to build without limitation. The holographic display behind her lit up, blazed to life. It showed the full extent of human expansion, Gasps echoed through the council chambers across the galaxy. As you've now discovered, Kate continued. We did not stay in Sol. We established colonies across the galaxy, in regions you thought worthless or unreachable. We did this without your hyperspace networks, without your approval, without your knowledge. We built our own infrastructure, We developed our own technologies, We created our own civilization, We are not returning to beg for readmittance to your council, not begging. We are informing you of a new reality. A new reality. Humanity is now a galactic civilization in its own right, We have 90 billion citizens, 90 billion. Across 400 star systems, 400 systems. We have technologies you can barely imagine. We have capabilities you can't match, cannot match. Her voice became harder, much harder. But we have not forgotten your kindness when we needed help. We have not forgotten the species who voted against our exile. And we have not forgotten those who pushed for our removal, pushed hard. The display changed dramatically. It showed a different map. This one highlighted border regions where human colonies sat near council space, near their space. We are not threatening you, not threatening, Kate said carefully. We are informing you. Our expansion will continue. But we have no interest in conquering council worlds or displacing established civilizations. The galaxy is vast enough for all of us. However, we will no longer be ignored or dismissed. Humanity claims its right to exist in this galaxy, to explore it, to settle it, to interact with other species on equal terms. Not as beggars, not as primitives, as equals. The question now is not whether humanity will be part of galactic civilization. We already are. The question is whether the Council will acknowledge this reality peacefully, or whether you will try to reverse it through force. She let that threat hang in the air for a moment, hang there before continuing. We hope you choose peace, because war with humanity would be something none of us would survive, none of us. The message ended abruptly, leaving the Council in chaos, utter chaos. The Vraxian Chancellor finally found his voice. This is outrageous, absolutely outrageous. They violated the Exile, violated it. They expanded in defiance of our authority. But Councillor Mira stood tall. Her aquatic features showed what might have been amusement. Genuine amusement. What authority? They're not in Council space, not in our space. They haven't touched our worlds. They found empty systems and settled them. That's not a violation. That's exactly what every species in this chamber has done. But the scale, the Chancellor protested weakly. 400 systems in 23 years. Is our problem, not theirs. Mira countered firmly. We exiled them. We cut them off. They adapted and thrived. Now they're too large to ignore, too large and too powerful to remove, too powerful. We have to decide how to respond. In Seoul, President Webb watched the Council's reactions. Their reactions. Genesis provided real-time analysis. They're scared, truly scared, he observed. As they should be. Admiral Cole replied gravely. He was older now, much older, preparing to retire, but still sharp, still razor sharp. We've upended everything they thought they knew about galactic civilization. Everything, absolutely everything. Dr. Lisa Morgan, now the oldest member of the President's inner circle, smiled slightly. They assumed that species advance slowly, very slowly, predictably. They've never encountered something like humanity, a species that treats obstacles as challenges, and impossibility as a suggestion, as a mere suggestion. What's the chance they'll attack? Webb asked Genesis. The AI's holographic form appeared before them. Its features showed something like contemplation, deep contemplation. Very low. Less than 3%. The Council's military assessment shows they cannot project force across the distances involved. Their navies are designed for border patrols and police actions, not offensive campaigns across thousands of light years. And if they tried, Genesis continued calmly, our vanguard fleets would defeat them within weeks. The phase shift technology alone makes our vessels nearly impossible to target. Impossible to target. Combined with our dimensional compression drives, quantum weapons, and AI-assisted tactical systems, we possess total military superiority. Total superiority. But we don't want war. Don't want war. Webb said firmly. Very firmly. That was never the goal, never the goal. No, Cole agreed solemnly. The goal was survival and independence. Survival and independence. We've achieved both. Now we see if they can accept it. Over the following weeks, the council debated fiercely. Some species called for immediate military action. Immediate action. They claimed humanity had violated the spirit of the exile. The spirit. Others argued for diplomatic engagement. A few, like the Selkath, suggested that humanity's return might actually benefit the galaxy. Finally, the Vraxian Chancellor requested a formal meeting with human representatives. It would be the first direct contact between the Council and humanity since the exile. President Webb chose his delegation carefully, very carefully. Ambassador Kate Romano would lead. She was supported by military advisors, scientists, and trade representatives. They would meet on neutral ground, one of humanity's gateway stations, a massive structure that had been revealed to demonstrate human technological capability. When the council delegation finally arrived, they were visibly shaken by what they saw. The gateway station was enormous, absolutely enormous. It dwarfed anything the council had ever built. It was busy with activity, feverish activity. Ships from dozens of human colonies arrived and departed through quantum tunnels that made the council's hyperspace network look primitive, look ancient, utterly ancient. The Vraxian Chancellor, accompanied by representatives from all the major council species, met with Kate in a conference chamber. It overlooked the main gateway terminal. You have accomplished something remarkable, truly remarkable, the Chancellor said, searching for words, searching desperately. Kate smiled politely. We had good motivation, excellent motivation. Exile focuses the mind. We need to discuss the future, the Chancellor said carefully, very carefully. Your expansion cannot continue unchecked, There must be agreements, borders, regulations. We agree, Kate replied, surprising him, shocking him. We have no interest in chaos, but understand this clearly. We will not submit to council authority. We are willing to negotiate as equals to establish mutual borders and trade agreements to participate in galactic civilization. But we will never again, allow others to determine humanity's fate. Counselor Mira leaned forward. What do you propose? Kate turned on a holographic display. A new framework. The Council continues to govern its member species and its territory. Humanity operates as an independent power. We are sovereign over our colonies and our space. We establish formal diplomatic relations. We negotiate trade agreements. We create mutual defense pacts where interests align. You want to be recognized as a galactic power in your own right. Mira said slowly, very slowly. We already are one. Kate corrected gently. We're simply asking you to acknowledge reality. The negotiations took months, long months. In the end, a new treaty was signed. The Covenant of Stars. the Covenant of Stars. Humanity would be recognized as an independent galactic civilization, independent civilization. They would have the same rights and standing as any council species, any species. Human territory would be respected. In exchange, humanity would respect council borders. They agreed to certain regulations on technology sharing and military deployments. It wasn't perfect, not perfect, but it worked. 5 years later, human ships moved freely through council space, trading, exploring, cooperating. Some council species remained suspicious, but others embraced the opportunities humanity brought. Ambassador Kate Romano stood in the refurbished chambers, where 28 years earlier, Marcus Reed had watched humanity get exiled. Now she was addressing the council as an equal. She was presenting a proposal for joint exploration of the galactic core. After the session, she met with the elderly Vraxian chancellor. He was finally retiring. You knew, he said quietly, very quietly. That ambassador, Marcus Reed. He knew what would happen when he smiled that day. Kate nodded slowly. He suspected. We all did. The exile was the best thing that ever happened to humanity, It freed us from trying to fit into your civilization. It allowed us to build our own. We feared you would become a threat. The chancellor admitted quietly. We became a power. Kate corrected gently. There's a difference, a critical difference. Threats seek to destroy. Powers seek to build. We're building the future, Chancellor. And that future has room for everyone who wants to be part of it. The Chancellor looked at her for a long moment. I wish we had understood that 28 years ago. Perhaps you needed to exile us, so we could discover what we truly were. Kate said softly. Sometimes the greatest gifts come wrapped in rejection. Years passed. Human colonies continued to grow and prosper. New Terra, the first colony outside Sol, had become a thriving world with over 2 billion people. It was a center of art, science, and culture. Its universities attracted students from dozens of species, human and alien alike. The Epsilon Cluster, once empty space, now held 15 colonized systems, 15 systems. They were interconnected by quantum gateways. Travel between them took minutes, mere minutes. The cluster had its own government, its own economy, its own identity, but it remained part of the greater human civilization. Admiral Victoria Grant, now retired, gave a lecture at the new Interstellar Academy on New Terra. Her students came from dozens of species. Humans sat beside Selkath. Vraxians studied, next to creatures from worlds the Council had barely contacted.